Hello, hello, everybody. Glad to have you here. Let me get my live chat pulled up. Was just waiting until Scott wrapped up there because I didn't want to jump on top of him. All right, let me get in here at the top. Griffin Fish Room, hello and welcome. Followed by Gnarly Fish Tanks, Cody Donovan, GTA Gnarly Fish Tanks again. Sand Creek Aquatic, hello. Thank you for the $2 super sticker with the big red thumbs up. I appreciate you, Nathan. I hope you're doing well today. Geofish Dude, hey, how's it going? Danikin Aquatics, Griffin, I think, yeah, I got you, but hello again. Young Fish Aquatics, glad to see you. Sand Creek with another $5 super sticker with the incredible sideways cap dude. Nathan, again, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I owe you a nice dinner at this point, along with a couple other people. And then the Zen Ginger, thank you for the $2 super sticker with the red I am here arrow. Good to see you, Zen. Select Pet is in the house. GRB Aquatic, Chevy Fish, William Pridemore, Seth Brittingham, Cody Donovan, again, Tiffany White, Teresa Cookie, Mike from the Fish Tank Barn. Can't wait to meet you next week, sir. Tiffany Carabello Holmes, Lori Vinker, Dan Slee, Sherry Kramer, Ozzy Octane Smith. I hope you're all doing well. So, I have one or two little things to talk about tonight, and then I wanted to do something that we haven't done in a while. I wanted to go ahead and open it up, let some people come up and do like an open mic like we used to do more often. I've kind of missed that. I think some of the people in the stream have kind of missed that. You know, it's Saturday night, so why not? I'd love to do that again. Mike from the Fish Tank Barn with $2 super chat says, thanks for the Be Funky tip. Awesome stuff. Hey, you are welcome. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I'm loving the new avatar you've got. I know you've had it for a little while now, but I don't think I mentioned it previously.
It is awesome. I really like it too.
Yep, it sticks out, and that's hard to do with those little bitty symbols. Dead Friend Fishy Fun 57, Candy, thank you for being here. Chad, hello and welcome. So, hey, Kim Moonstone. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was, of course, the big fish deal. We're less than a week away, and I am super pumped. I can't wait to go. And that was kind of the joke that I put into the thumbnail for tonight. As any of you have probably heard that listened to previous streams, Ed is bound and determined to beat me, even if it just means that he comes in 9th and I come in 10th. So that's what my crazy look like. Oh, you think you're going to beat me, tough guy? He might. I don't know. I just was playing around with that. But I am looking forward to it. I looked at, like, I've legitimately tried to aquascape one tank, and I think that's the picture that I did for tonight's thumbnail. I took like part of that scape and used it as a thumbnail. But I don't know. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. The one big disappointment I have, and it's not really going to affect anything other than I really wanted to have it, is the phone that I pre-ordered is actually not available until next month, even though it was just released. Apparently, some of the factories that produced the phone are shut down due to the coronavirus, from what I'm understanding.
I knew that the iPhone factory was shut down.
Yeah,
over in China.
So yeah, they had every other option on the model of phone that I wanted except the one I pre-ordered, and I called every store in town and several in neighboring cities. Could not get a hold of one. They're back ordered, and mine's expected to ship the 16th of next month. But other than that, I'm excited and looking forward to it. I think I'm ready. I've got to kind of gather things up throughout the week and make a checklist. If you all have any suggestions for things that might not be quite so obvious, of course, I'm going to have my phone batteries and chargers and, change of clothes, all the typical stuff. But if there's something that's kind of different that you all would recommend to take to the fish show, by all means, throw it in the chat. And then I will shut up and let Ed do some talking.
Well, jeepers, I really wasn't thinking about talking too much.
Okay.
But you know how you were saying how you have one tank that you tried to sculpt, or make it. I do too, and I was checking. I love looking at. I've got the American flag Keeleys in there, and nice. I was been watching them kind of doing their thing, and I've been saying I gotta go buy some moss for them because they like to lay their eggs, I guess, on moss.
Right.
Well, lo and behold, I've got moss in that tank.
Very nice.
I've never bought moss or planted it in my life, but I think it was on the rock that I put in there. It was I got a rock from a fish store that was in somebody, in their fish tank, and it sprouted, and I've got a big old blob of moss. It's real pretty. And so I'm like, and it's like facing the back of the tank, but it's starting to come up and above the rock now. So that's kind of exciting. And
very nice. Oh, yeah. It's always nice when you find surprises in the tank. And I've still got a big batch of Java moss for you. So maybe when you drop me off from the big fish deal on the way back, I can bag it up and sit at home with you versus hauling it to Maryland.
I don't know if this is Java moss or if it's Christmas moss. Moss. Yeah. I don't know. I was going Muslim moss and it was throwing me off.
So real quick, Kim Moonstone, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. It says, waiting on friends at a pizza place. Have fun. I'll catch the replay. We will try and make it enjoyable for you on the replay. Thank you for the super chat and thank you for hanging out with us. Like I said, I didn't have a whole lot to. There are a lot of things I could talk about, but what I really wanted to do was go ahead and open it up for some people to come on. I will ask. We keep it family friendly. Everybody knows I like to promote other people's channels, but I don't want anyone to come up and just to go, hey, check out my channel and subscribe. You get what I'm saying? We'll be happy to look at people's channels, but I don't want someone that I've never talked to before in my life to just pop up on here so they can jump on camera and go, check out my channel. Hello, Susan, Pam. A lot of people that I didn't say hello to because I stopped prior to them coming in. So hello to everybody that I missed in the first place. Unless you have any topics you want to discuss before we let people up, I'll go ahead and throw the link out there in the chat, and we can do this the good old-fashioned way like we used to, have a couple people up. I prefer to keep it to 4 of us on screen maximum, just because when you get 5 and 6, sometimes it gets really difficult, especially dependent upon people's mic and audio setups. But let me copy this right here.
I just saw Susan in there, and she's got, I don't know if anybody's been keeping up with her. I always watch her videos after, generally. I never seem to catch them live. But she's got take care of family, so she's shutting down her fish room for a while. I don't know if you know.
Sorry to hear that, Susan.
Yeah, and she's trying to sell overstock in plants, and so that way she'll have a little extra money. She has no idea how long she's going to have to be gone. Well, that's tough to have to leave your family to help the rest of your family.
Right.
But she sent a little thing saying that Chewy was interested in some of her green guppies.
Okay.
But I actually don't have room, James, right now for green guppies. I was wondering if you would consider picking up, if you have any space for
Joe Coffee. Right now. Yeah, I do. Sorry, I just saw Joe Coffee's message get hidden. It's fine that it was shown. That was just funny.
And we'll find out if that's what Chewy wants us to try to mix breed with those LRB guppies that I got him, or what. But I'm thinking that that's probably what she meant. I need to talk to Chewy sometime.
Absolutely. And if it turns out that that's what everybody is wanting to do, yeah, I've got a couple of 20 longs that don't really have anything in them. Like they have shrimp or plecos, but definitely could house guppies because they're just really minimal stocked.
Yeah, and I've got the LRB one. It's probably got about 30 fry in it now. So eventually, we're probably going to have to dedicate 2 tanks to Chewy, and we'll find out what he wants as his base guppy. And then, what you'll breed with them and what I'll breed with them for his creations. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Susan said she has got a buyer for the school now.
Oh, okay.
But
well, I'm sorry, Chewy. And I meant to talk to James earlier. Because I'm in the middle of construction, and I have no space. I had to set up a fish tank next to my stove yesterday for Pam's rice fish. So, yeah, I was just like, oh, no, I don't think I can do another guppy at the minute.
You can't do another guppy?
Well, this has all got to be cleaned out. I was showing James earlier off live camera. yeah, of what I've done, and I've gotten a lot cleaned out. And hopefully tomorrow I'll paint the walls, and then on Monday I'm going to set up the racks because I want to have some extra tanks also by the end of next week ready for the big fish deal also.
I'm surprised nobody has jumped on backstage. I had a couple people that had mentioned it before, but that is fine. Okay, I wanted to open it up because I felt like we were no, I don't want to say shunning the people, but that we were leaving people out that used to come on all the time.
Yep.
Let's see.
I haven't seen Big J yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen Big J. Trying to see. Susan said she did have one other strain available. I don't see where the message went, but okay, there we go. Susan from SLC or 4L SLC Aquatics says she has a stock list on the website. There we go.
Can Susan post links on ours or?
Yeah. She's
okay, cool.
Or if somebody wants to, whoever can get to it. And of course, Susan, when the time comes that you're able to get back into the hobby, just let us know. The Fish Family would be glad to help you out in getting things acquired and getting, set back up and going again. Donald Fish Vibes wants to know, how often do you dye your beard? It's always rich red.
Well, this part's not the problem. I wouldn't have to dye it all the time here, but my mustache grows so fast. I have to almost dye it once a week just so my mustache isn't white and brown. I can't handle having hair touching my lips, so I'm constantly trimming it back, and so that's why it's always so red.
So Joe Coffee asked, at Fish Room Fever, is there a preferred paint for painting tank backs or just whatever is on hand? There, you can use just about whatever is on hand. I use a Krylon paint. I don't think I've got a can in here. And that's just because I've used it for painting other things. Items that get used outside and have parts that heat up on them. And it's held up really well for that. So I know if it can go through the wear and tear of being on those things, that it can handle the back of a tank just fine. But realistically, you can use just the cheap spray paint. You could use a paint on. There's, it's going on the outside, so you don't really have to worry about what kind you use.
Is it Plexi Dip? Is there a spray paint called Plexi Dip?
Plastic Dip. That's the one that you can peel off.
Yeah, that's what I like to use. I couldn't think of the name right off the top of my head, but that is so nice when it comes to the day when you have to take it off. There it is.
Yeah, that is good stuff.
Priscilla's. Oh, I wonder, Priscilla, are you still at the show, or are you coming home?
Oh, looks like somebody might be backstage, and there he is. Pull this guy up here. Look at that. Hey, Chris, how are you? Multi-Tank Addiction.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going pretty good. Pretty good. Appreciate you coming up. You doing all right tonight?
Yeah, I'm running this on my cell phone for the first time, so
gotcha.
Sorry about the camera and all that, but I wanted to see how well this worked.
Sure.
So,
ooh, that's some neat art.
That is nice. So what's that piece behind you on?
Oh, wrong way. There we go.
Rock bass?
Yeah, that was a poster I made for the King of DIY for Aquashella Dallas last year.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I've heard you talk about that. Dude,
that's awesome. Made 3 of them, and he didn't keep the one that I gave him, and that one's the only other one that's left. So, but I wanted to see how well this gimbal worked live streaming, because, well, we all got gimbals.
Right. So Joe Coffee says, Fish Room Fever, the Zen Ginger. I was thinking of experimenting with Hammerite. I've not tried that one. I'm just guessing from the sound of the name. It sounds like it might be kind of an enforced paint or something that's going to hold up a little bit better. I don't see anything wrong with that.
What was it?
Hammerite. Hamerite.
Is that a paint or a spray paint? I don't know if I've heard of that.
I have not either. If you do end up using that, Joe, you'll have to let us know how that works out for you. Excuse me, can't get my throat cleared without coughing. Redfish Bluefish says, FYI, at Fish Room Fever, the kids streaming upstream is while I stream downstairs. Multi-generational streaming here.
Oh,
That
that'd
is
be
awesome,
cool.
Redfish Bluefish. Are you... Okay, I think you mean watching the stream. For a second, I thought he meant that he was currently streaming and that his son was on his own channel streaming. I was saying I didn't get a notification for Redfish Bluefish. So
I was so mad at myself. I love watching his streams. They're Friday nights around 10:30 Central. I think it's 10:30 Eastern. But I got on there and it said 20 minutes to wait. So I typed in hi and I just laid down. I fell asleep. Didn't see any of it.
Oh.
Doggone it.
we got
Sorry
one more
about that.
backstage here. Hey, Danigan, how are you?
What's going on, guys?
That's pretty awesome. We got the team up here in the Tennessee area, and then you two are neighbors, basically.
I'm at work, but I
Yeah,
figured I'd stop in and say hello real
Brooklyn
quick.
YouTubers and the
Awesome.
Tennessee YouTubers together.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Looking forward to uniting one day. Everybody getting together.
Is it still
That'd be
sunny
cool.
there?
All you guys got to do is come on out.
Yep. We
That'd be so cool.
I'm not a huge fan of flying, but we'll figure something out.
Now, are you guys
You know what?
in
Neither am I.
Vancouver, Washington?
I'm in Vancouver, Washington. He's in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Okay.
My folks will be in Vancouver, I guess, when you're with me in Dallas. 'Cause
Huh.
they're going to Vancouver, Washington to get on their cruise to go to Alaska.
Oh, very nice.
Really?
I've always wanted to do an Alaskan cruise.
I didn't know the cruise ships came all the way up to. You sure it's not Vancouver, BC? Because that's the Puget Sound.
Well, maybe my mom was
Whereas
wrong.
Vancouver, Washington is about a 3 or 4 hour boat ride down the Columbia River.
Oh, okay. My mom probably got it wrong.
So
Which you would
Probably
think she
Vancouver.
would go BC. That's the more famous Vancouver.
So,
Nothing against your Vancouver.
real quick, Joe Coffee says Fish Room Fever
Vancouver,
is
BC
mostly
is
a
the more
metal
famous.
paint.
but Vancouver, Washington's the real thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you're correct in that
Drop-
it's the end of Vancouver.
Off and come back on the computer, I think. Oh,
That'll work because
Yeah,
it does
you
have
got
a
the
bit of
delay.
delay. I will drop it again for you, Chris. Mostly a metal paint. It dries with a cracked
Thank you.
looking texture. That would be awesome.
Oh,
That I think I've seen what you're talking about before.
I painted a hockey helmet like that back in the 80s before they started going to cages. It was like the year before everybody went to cages. I had a hockey helmet. I sprayed it and then crackled it. That stuff was cool.
All right. Let me see. Oh, jumped away from me. JT Aquatics. At Fish Room Fever, my guppies just had babies, but there are 90 on tetras in the tank. Should I take them out, or will it be just fine to leave them alone?
Which one's doing?
Since I talk too much, Ed, I'm going to defer to the guppy expert over here.
The neon tetras will probably hunt them down when they're really small. I mean, if they get a little size on them, they'll be okay. But right away, they're probably just going to be delicious.
I'm about to add Chris back, but real quick, I want to say
Hey,
thank
Nathan.
you to
Hello,
this
Katie.
gentleman right here, Sand Creek Aquatics, for another $2 super chat. Brother, I appreciate that. You didn't have to throw the money at me for the link. You could have just hollered at my name, but I appreciate that nonetheless. And then what I'm going to do is let you four gentlemen chat for a minute.
Actually, I got a deal. I've got to work here. I'm at work, so we'll go and knock me down, put Chris up, bub.
I'll knock you out. No,
I've seen you at work.
I just wanted to come up and say hello, man.
dude, I appreciate
So-
it. Anybody that's in here that does not already know, Danikin's got an awesome channel. Go check him out. He does live streams as well as videos. So appreciate you coming up.
I love the jacket. I love the jacket, Kenny.
Thank you, sir.
But thank you again. I
See
appreciate
you
you,
later,
man.
Kenny.
All right.
All right, and we got dead air. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, we don't.
No,
Oh, we all got moved.
this is perfect now because there's no sound delay. Because I was getting a little sound delay, so I'd pause and then I'd talk, and then your sound would hit. But we're right on track now. So,
Can we go back to the baby guppies real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember who. Oh, I never even saw it, so I don't know who said it. But you can get like a little
Aquatics.
thing that'll hook to the side of your tank and have a bubbler and in it, and just let the babies grow out there. Or you can get like a fish bowl that you'd put a goldfish in.
Yeah, that's
And,
Marina
raising
hang
out.
on breeder box. I'm gonna grab one.
Yeah, hang on breeder box. They've got inside ones and outside ones. I like the outside ones a lot better than the inside ones.
Or you can go to Walmart and buy. They have a plastic. I mean, no, it's not good, but it works for a minute. $19 two-gallon tank.
Well, I'm gonna get something.
So you've got a couple of options. This is one of them. I don't always recommend these. This actually is just a net, and it hangs inside of the main tank. If you're not wanting to set up the other box, the issue you sometimes have with these is the big fish outside trying to pick off the baby fish inside. Plus, there's not a whole lot of area, and people tend to utilize these longer than they do these for some reason. This is the other one, and this is also, if you've got one of these, you'll understand why this is here, because it's so easy to lose these little gates that go in here. So I've got one that's attached that I could never lose. Then it's got another one. I actually have a couple little pieces of stainless steel mesh, but this is the one Ed was referencing.
Yeah, I really like those.
So there's my other parts.
Well, and I don't know if anybody has cats, but I've been saving these things, and I bet you I have 20 of them, and they will do as a mini little grow out for little fish.
Little fish.
And I plan on making a whole shelf of them just in case, for whatever I would need them for. So expensive, really good version right there.
These are only like $12 maybe. You can find them for more or less, but
Let's say $12 for that. Then the one that he showed is maybe $7.
Yeah.
And this one's free. But they all have, their advantages and disadvantages.
so this is the standard setup for anybody that's not seen the Marina hang on breeder boxes. It just hangs on the edge of your tank with this part on the outside. That sits down in the tank. It uses air to force water up, goes through, comes back down into the tank. One thing that I like to do is I actually take and hook that into this tee off, and then I'll run, especially like if I've got eggs in here, like Cory eggs or something that needs really good circulation. So I'll hook my airline in here, and then I've got that air stone in there, so it's giving added circulation. But that's what he was referencing.
Hey, Ed, did your gimbal come with a case?
Yes.
What about you, James? Did your gimbal come with a case?
It did. It's not like a fancy case, but it came with like a hinged, heavier duty styrofoam case, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
The
mine is.
reason why I was asking is because mine came with a soft case
Mhm.
for the Mini Me, which
Huh.
isn't the model that I have. I have
Right.
an S.
Well,
So
I'll never
I
use.
have this, and I don't need it. So if one of you two wants it, I'll bring it with me to Dallas.
I don't know if it'll fit, but
Yeah, I think ours are too big.
But my
Ours
other
are
thing
like
is,
slobs.
in order to get it back into our case, because it's form fitting, I have to take my counterweight off, which is not a huge deal, but it's gonna get annoying, and then take off the mic holder as well. So, and then fold it up. So I honestly am one of those people. I will probably never take this thing apart unless I have to. Like, if you can see, it's not that it takes a lot of time. I just would rather have it ready to go at all points in time.
See, this has got a little micro USB plug on the bottom of it, so I can actually plug my phone into it and charge my phone with it.
Nice.
But like you guys were saying on your stream, was it your stream or your video? I can't remember exactly. I think it was your stream on Thursday.
Stream, yeah.
I chose this one because of its very. Lock that in place. Turn that way, and there.
Yeah, see, ours just don't have that final snap down. Everything else locks in, but again, I'm not ever gonna make mine compact. I don't plan to ever be like on a plane or anywhere with limited, travel space, so to speak.
Yeah.
Realistically, when Ed and I are driving up to Maryland next week, this thing's probably going to be hanging out the floorboard. That way, I can just grab it, and if we see something cool going down the road or want to do a live stream while we're driving.
Yeah.
But
this is going to be used solely for trips for the most part.
Yeah, and
I
that, I
think
think
a couple
that's
videos.
much better for that.
And since you fly, that's really good.
Yeah, well, I like having it able to stab people like Ed mentioned.
Yeah, be able to fight terrorists.
I can pummel them.
What you got going on, buddy? We're
I
kind of
want to-
talking over you.
I want to order one, but can you attach a camera to it later on?
I don't know that these will hold like a full size camera. The one that I've got that I linked to, it's got like if you've got a GoPro, it has an adapter plate for your GoPro, so you can use a GoPro.
No,
with it.
I'm talking
Yeah.
big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll-
Are you
you'll need a
talking
different
like-
one.
Like this kind of camera?
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
way outside. This is way too heavy.
Yeah, you'll need a totally different type of gimbal
Yeah,
for
the
that one.
gimbal that you're looking for one of those is going to be about $250 at the low end. Unfortunately, that's why I decided that I'm going to start doing all my filming with my cell phone, so that I can have a gimbal and I can
We'll see.
take my cell phone with trips and be able. I don't have to carry this.
And that's part of why I was sad I wouldn't have my phone before the big fish deal, is because I really wanted to videotape John from KG in 8K, because I know how he loves, high resolution video. So I figured some 8K footage would just make him scream. John, if you hear this for somehow or another, I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy. Just busting your chops.
Hey, he does it to us all the time.
Yeah.
I know he does it to me all the time. I'm sure he does it to you as well. It's just in his nature. So
Absolutely.
turnaround is fair play. Giving Corey a hard time about eating a discus for God's sake.
Dr. Black had the idea, Chris. He said to use that thing as a fancy pencil case.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you mind if I say hello to a
Oh, you
couple
can run
people? Teresa,
Teresa Cookie.
Dr. Black, Draculair, Gnarly Tanks, Pet Sonics. Hey, they
Hello.
always say hey to me. So
Oh yeah, no, I
Oh,
never.
yeah, Dragon Layer's always.
Everybody.
Dragon Lair says he uses these to grow out betas. And I totally
That's a good
thought
idea.
if I ever do betas, that'd be perfect. I don't think I will. If I do, it'd probably be like wild betas. And I don't know if they have to be separated really. So
I have some betas, but they're just display. I'm not doing anything with them.
Yeah, Donald Fish 5 says I saw a review with the S20 and 8K. It wasn't good. Yeah, there's actually an update that people need to do. A lot of people aren't doing on the phone when they get it. They're just going. But that's usually how it is when a phone first comes out. They drop updates and they roll things out. But they've already released some updates for the camera setup on it. And then Zen said, if John could get a drone with 8K, he would. Yeah, probably.
Hey, James. Leslie's Aquatics asks, anyone have any recommendations?
Oh my gosh! Wait a
Sterilize
minute.
a sponge filter. I would
Y'all
like to know why
see?
they
Y'all
don't sterilize their sponge filter first.
Do y'all see Zen Ginger's comment?
No.
Do not. I was looking for that other comment about the sponge.
Oh, yeah.
I love you, Zen. She said, "What the WFT? No hi for me."
We all love Zen Ginger. She's just giving you a hard time. I can't find the question about the sponge filters, Chris. What was that
Leslie's
again? I'm sorry.
Aquatics. It's just above
Be right back.
KH's high to Sand Creek. Right underneath Teresa Cookie saying, "Hey Nathan."
Oh, there we go. Any recommendations for sterilizing a sponge filter? Mine would just be to boil that sucker.
Yeah, but why does she need to sterilize it? What's going on? That's
The only thing I could think is that maybe if she had it in a tank that had ick, but if you just overheat it, and leave it in some hot water for a long time, the ick is all going to die also. So
Yeah.
Yeah. My sponge filter was in a tank with a sick fish.
Yeah.
just don't use it right away.
Right. I mean, if you're trying to, and I assume you are since you mentioned sterilizing it, if you're trying to be 100% safe with it, boiling it's going to get rid of it. Whatever is on it, whatever disease, especially if you don't know what killed the other fish, kind of hard to say how long until it's safe to use again.
Boil it in bleach water. That way
Yeah.
we got chemical and
Yeah, you could do the good old 1/10 parts, bleach to water, boil that sucker. Zen says run the sponge in bleach water, rinse and dry completely. Yes, the only reason I wouldn't do not that I wouldn't do the bleach, just if you use bleach, make sure that you rinse it really well. And maybe throw some dechlorinator in there, and the last time that you think you've got it good enough, throw some extra dechlor in there, let it sit for a minute, and hopefully break all those molecules down in case you miss something.
I use a lot of
switch cameras real quick.
Dr. Black, sorry, I'm kind of catching half of the conversation here. Okay, I'll leave that alone because I'm so lost trying to catch that conversation that I'm not even going to bother interfering with their business. So what do you have going on, Nathan? Sand Creek?
I use a lot of bleach and peroxide,
Yeah.
but I rinse really good.
Yeah, and that's going to be your biggest thing with anything that you use. Just make sure that you rinse it really, really well. Of course, peroxide eventually, it'll break down in the water and become non-harmful. And then, the big thing with bleach is the chlorine. So dechlorinator is going to help to just kind of ensure that you're getting that out of there.
Whenever I bring any new plants in, I give them a bleach class.
Yeah. That is not about, let's see, what about using vinegar instead? Yeah, a lot of people do use vinegar for like tank cleaning and other things like that.
I would use distilled vinegar, not any other type of vinegar, though.
Right, yeah. You don't want to be pouring apple cider vinegar on that sucker.
Yeah, that would that would be bad.
Where did his comment go? Petzotics Diego, hello, says, how long should I wait before I add 1-inch Ember Tetras to my 4-inch piranha aquarium? Well, I mean, that's going to depend upon your piranhas. I have about 10 guppies in my piranha tank, and it's been the same number of guppies for a while. And they didn't go in there as culls or anything. It was actually when I was getting duckweed out of the muck guppy tank. There was so much duckweed in the top and so many little bitty baby fry, I just couldn't get them all out. And so now they've grown, and I've got I've got several full size and a bunch of juvenile guppies. And right now they're swimming within 6 inches of these piranha, and they just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, piranha swim with tons of fish in the Amazon, and angelfish and piranhas live together, in the wild. It's just all about when you would introduce them. Like, I'd make sure that your piranhas were plenty full. Oops, we just lost James. I would make sure that you fed the piranhas and then waited about a good half hour so they don't think it's still food. Awesome.
Yeah.
Unless you do what James did and fry.
I was switching cameras.
Oh, okay.
I would, just like Chattanooga said, is feed them, wait a half hour, but I would I would also have them in there, either in a plastic bag where the other fish could see them, or a hang-on box or something for the duration. That way you're not just throwing something in.
Yeah. So as you can see, the piranha clearly know that the guppies are there. They're big enough that they're not hiding from them, and they just don't care. But that's not going to be every fish, you know. This particular group, they eat well, and even when I'm not feeding every single day, they still just don't have a desire. Now, if I were to not feed them, you know, that would be the first thing when they started to get really hungry. I'm sure they would pick off the guppies.
And I don't want to put your piranhas down or anything, but I think piranhas are kind of a lazy fish. You know, they like to eat,
I think
you know,
more
by
of a
opportunity. So they use a lot of energy when they're eating, but they don't like to like chase fish around. And so I know, you know, James's fish know when food's come in, and they know what it's easy and like. So chasing those guppies probably a pain. See, look at that.
They know that bag is food.
They
Yeah,
know
now
that
they're getting
bag.
excited.
They know the red bottles. When I tapped the glass, they didn't like that. They didn't mean to tap the glass.
But I mean, if you go to any aquarium across the country and look at the piranhas, they're always just sitting there real still.
They're just still.
They're just saving their energy, kind of like a cat.
Or
At least
snake.
I'm no expert. This is just what I've noticed with piranhas in my lifetime.
Yeah, the most aggressive fish I have are pretty much the ones you see on my screen right now. So I don't worry about fish that have teeth.
Right. Yeah, I'd say you're probably safer sticking your hand in this tank than you are in that tank that you've got there. I know my Oscars will try to bite me much quicker than the piranha will.
I don't know.
In fact, my Oscars have bitten me several times.
Bob has that one. Not Severon. Yeah, Severon. I think that constantly bites him in the hand, and he's shown it to me, and it's pretty nasty. It looks just like it has a mouth like a bass or something. You know how they have the little sandpaper teeth?
Oh
That's
yeah,
what it looks like.
they're kind of like a bluegill almost.
I wish I had a tank full of bluegill.
Oh man, there's some good-looking bluegill, aren't there? I love how they look. I don't understand why people don't really get into North American fish as well, you know, since we live here. But I guess it's always, grass is always greener.
Well, the problem is that unfortunately, like for instance here in Washington, it's illegal. You can't keep any of that
It's
stuff.
same thing here in Mississippi.
Yeah, a lot of states
It's
are that
illegal.
way. Fortunately, Tennessee is one of those. We really don't care what you do until it actually is a problem, and then we might talk about making a law against it. So,
Well, I mean, like in Missouri, I would buy 200 bluegill every year and throw them in my lake. And I could have just as easily fished a few out and put them in my tank. But that's when I had, you know, fancy, I had all the big discus and stuff in my tank. So I didn't want to stick bluegill in there with them.
in case anybody is wondering, especially if you're watching on a phone, you probably can't tell all the stuff floating around in that tank. That's not dirty water. That's actually duckweed. That not the overflow, but the hang-on back filters are kicking the duckweed down. So that's what all the particles are.
See, I'm watching this on my computer, and that looks like scales.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, it's duckweed. I like my continuous flow. When I feed them, it gets worse, if you want to call it worse, because the you know, they go up and hit the surface at first, and then the food's pushing it around as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've had tanks of bluegill
Oh, wow.
and, and loved them, but doing the YouTube, It's I can't do it because they're actually illegal.
Yeah.
That is so stupid.
You see that? Do you see that log in the background on the right hand side on my tank
Uh-huh.
behind the Oscars? It's finally getting waterlogged. It was floating. It's been floating. You see, it's moving right now behind the Oscars, right there. It is finally getting waterlogged. It was floating for the longest time. So 2 weeks now, and it's finally starting to drop down.
Oh, 2 weeks. Mine has been 5 months, and it still wants to float.
Oh, I've got one that's in this guppy tank behind me that's been there for a year, and it's still floating. I don't think it's ever going to get waterlogged.
Yeah, and like Zen, I agree. Several people are saying 1-inch Ember Tetras, they're totally lunch. That's entirely possible. That being said, these guys don't care about those guppies that are an inch, a little over an inch. I could throw some more guppies in on the other end of the tank, and they wouldn't, instantly go hunt down those particular guppies just because they just entered the tank. Now, if I were to dump them in a handful of food, I'm sure they'd get eaten. But again, it's going to depend on your particular fish. I probably would not advise it unless you've done that with those fish before.
Did you just see that?
I saw that.
One of the piranhas did go up. So maybe if you had a really fancy tail, maybe a bad, slow boy might be ate.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly.
Oh, I missed it.
I don't by any means think those guppies are going to live forever in there, but it's definitely possible to have things cohabitate. Now, the plecos, on the other hand, I don't know if you've gotten to see them. They're much larger than the piranha, and the piranha don't mess with them at all. They don't bother them. If the plecos get upset that they're resting near them, the plecos will jab at the piranha and scare them off. But the trick there is that they're much larger.
I find that fish that stay on the glass or the bottom or plants, other fish don't mess with.
Yeah, they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. If they don't see it like up in their face swimming around, they don't necessarily deem it as something to mess with. That definitely happens fairly often. Big J wants to know how big or how the baby monsters are doing at Fish from Fever. The one is kind of chilling behind me. I'm sure he'll be there when I switch the camera back over. But they are doing well. One is the red-tailed cat's about 7 inches now, and the hybrid is probably about 5.5 maybe. But they're still little bitty babies.
Are you gonna buy a pond or?
I don't know if we'll start with the pool pond, or sorry, I was trying to catch up on the chat. I will probably just go into a big tank for now, and then down the road build like not really a pond, but like a plywood tank with the glass viewing panel. That's been the goal. I've had one of those designed out that I've wanted to do for some time. So I used to have the glass for it. I don't have the glass for it anymore, but it is what it is. But yeah, push comes to shove, I could actually put a shed, right outside the house, run the HVAC to it so it's temperature controlled, and throw a kiddie pool in there. Worst case scenario.
Hey, James.
Yes, sir.
Dragon Lair sent me a message saying boil that driftwood, and I wanted to reply back saying that driftwood is about 4 feet long.
Yeah.
And it's shaped like a leg, so.
Well, see, the trick is you just have to get your chainsaw and cut it into boilable pieces and then super glue it.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Gorilla glue back together, right?
Real quick, Susan, for SLC, I would grab these highlighted comments real quick and then I'll turn it over. Sorry, Ed. Says, guess what, James? 3 crayfish have given birth. I've sold the adults and I tease to send 50 babies with each one. Yeah, mine have not, or my one has not yet. But it's doing well. She's doing well. She's the sole occupant of a 20-gallon long, so she's got all the space that she could want. Nobody to pick on her. Hello, Chewy.
I saw somebody boil large pieces of wood before by using an aluminum trash can and like a turkey fryer.
Yeah, that's not happening at my house.
Right. Well, I mean, you can
That
also
is
do
an idea.
really hot water in the bathtub. I've seen people do that. Not necessarily boiling, but super hot water, as hot as it'll go. Or I've seen people,
It's
So-
gonna be touching it's about 4 inches from the bottom now, so it'll probably be on the bottom by the middle of next week. So
Mine, in all honesty, I don't want to sink because they have that hiding spot underneath that you can kind of see where they're going in underneath there. So even when it does start to sink, I've got some large rocks in there that it'll sit on so they can still have that structure to go underneath.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
freaking Oscars have been digging lately, so and they're, as you can tell, they're doing the mouth dance right now. So I'm thinking that my Oscars are going to try to breed, even though the male is technically not a year old yet. And from what my son has told me, Oscars don't reach sexual maturity until they're about 2 years old, but they're definitely acting like they're breeding or wanting to breed. I mean, the male's been digging a hole in the back there.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Didn't you act like you wanted to breed before you was good to go?
I didn't even know that they were opposite sex. I mean, when I moved this tank a couple weeks ago, we vented them when we put them back in the tank just to make sure that we knew what gender they were. And the one that I thought was a female was actually the male, and vice versa. So, like Tiger is the female.
And Susan says you could put the driftwood in the driveway and pour boiling water on it. You definitely could. My thing is, I didn't want to boil the tannins out. I like the tannins, especially in the piranha tank, between the tannins that aren't really even leaching from that anymore, and the duckweed on top. It gives them good shade cover. You can't really tell on the camera that the water is slightly discolored. I don't know. I also wanted it to see how long it would float. I'm curious about that. But yeah, the really hot water. And the other thing you could do is if you do it in the tub, you can pour boiling water into the hot water in the tub to help raise the temperature. That was what I forget who it was, but I saw somebody do that. Hello.
Chris, you have a lot of flow in that tank, don't you?
Yes, there's a 2,700 gallon per hour pump in the back with an airline attached to it that's pushing water around the tank. Because my filter, you can't see it, but my filtration is all on the right hand side. So the input and the output are right next to each other on that tank. Let me adjust the camera.
Rockford's doing a fish swap tomorrow, or going to a fish swap rather. That's going to be awesome, I'm sure. I hope you get some footage like the Zen Ginger mentioned. Be very, very cool. I hope you enjoy and get some goodies.
For sure. Is it in Chicago?
The output of that filter is the little black thing there, and then the input has got a 90-degree elbow on it with a screen over it, so I don't have any medium small fish get sucked into the filter. So
Right.
I wanted to make sure that the water got circulated all the way around the tank. So yeah, that's why everybody's faced to the right, swimming against the current.
No, I mean I like it. I just noticed you had a bunch of flow in there.
People
Yeah, when
get
I had it set up in the old spot, the pump was actually pointed upwards more because I was just more concerned about getting surface agitation. But this way actually gets bubbles all the way around the tank. So there's so much air being circulated into that tank that they don't gasp at all.
Boy, those guppies are just testing this live stream.
Cool.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
your piranha are getting triggered right now, aren't they?
They are. The guppies keep swimming down towards them. They want to prove me wrong, by God.
Oh, I just saw that
I
one.
just seen one chase it off.
They said, "Oh, we can survive in here. Watch me do this." See, the guppies are attacking the piranha, and the piranha are defending themselves. But no, I was gonna say, in terms of flow, a lot of people are surprised by how much flow fish actually can enjoy and handle. I've got a ridiculous amount. I've actually got a 40-gallon breeder that has 950 gallon per hour power head in it, and it's on the bottom.
Yeah.
I've got it attached to a terracotta piece of a pot, and it's on the bottom of the tank, pointing directly upward, so it does like a mushrooming effect to the water. And the plecos absolutely love it, but they're used to fast running water, in nature, so to speak. So a lot of times, I guess we don't consider how much flow these fish would deal with realistically in the wild. And we go, oh my God, that's so much flow. It's ridiculous. And really the plants and the fish are like, actually, this is fine with us because, it's what we would have been accustomed to anyway.
You find fish in rivers, creeks, whatever, and when the rain comes, they fill up and flow really fast, and then they settle. So I'm assuming fish get breaks from all of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the biggest thing with power head placement. I'm going to do a video because somebody asked me. She's wanting to add some power heads in and she's not sure about placement and whatnot. The biggest thing is to have some slow spots, have some resting places so the fish don't have to be in the flow. In Miss Fever's African cichlid tank, I've got about 2,000 gallons, if not a little more. Both those two power heads are in the same corner. They push straight across the back of the tank, and it creates a slight whirlpooling effect in the tank. But they can rest in several places. They can rest on the front side of the tank. If they want to get in the flow, they go on the back side of the tank. And you'll see sometimes like the Vieja that's in there with them. He gets in the flow. He likes a lot of flow. Lately, it seems like all he does is hide in his little cave. But, make sure they've got resting places. Make sure it's not constant, fast movement in every single location in the tank. That's the biggest thing. Give them some place to hang out and relax.
I agree.
Let's see. Chewy
Hey,
LTD. Yes, sir.
I hate to interrupt, but I gotta go. Scott is actually asking some questions, and I don't want to be distracted because he's going to be my guest next Tuesday. So.
Hey, no problem, buddy. We're only going to go probably for about 7 more minutes anyways. This is just the hour stream typically for Saturdays is what we planned.
Cool.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming up. If somehow anybody in the chat does not know Chris at Multi-Tank Addiction, I would ask you to go check him out. Great guy, great channel. And he's got some great art too. You can find the links to his fish art on his channel as well as on fishroomfever.com website.
Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. Chewy LTD says, hey, Fishroom Fever, I wonder if Ed would like to see live bears in Russia, and he dropped a link for you, Ed. Danican Aquatics says, James, Fishroom Fever, have you ever had them take bites out of each other? I see them in the pet stores with big bites out of them. Yes, so I don't know that you'll be able to catch any of them, but I'm sitting here. There are a couple that have some fin chunks removed. I've even had a couple instances where they'll have an entire mouth worth of bite chunk taken out of directly above the, or maybe about a ½ inch behind the eyes, but right out of their head. I didn't pull them out of the tank and treat them. I did add some stress zyme to the tank, and then one time I didn't add anything, but the tannins in the water really help. And I couldn't, if I sat here long enough and stared at each fish up close, I could probably find the fish, but just watching them, I can't tell you which fish it was. And that's happened a couple times. So from time to time, they will take chunks out of each other. That's just going to be a normal behavior. But for the most part, they tend to leave each other alone.
It's kind of like leaving black eyes in the human world.
Well,
Sorry, I was shaking my head and I forgot you couldn't see me. No, absolutely. Carrie Nature says, I have a question about guppies for Ed. How long would you keep about 12 guppy fry in a 5-gallon?
well, and I was thinking about that. Basically, you grow them out until they're bigger than anything that's going to fit in the mouth of what's in your tank. I don't know what's in their tank. If it's just other guppies, then it really doesn't have to be very long. But maybe 2-3 weeks. But I would, wait till they get a decent size so they can fend for themselves. And well, I mean, they fend for themselves right off the bat, but it's that first few days is when they really get ate. When they're just eyeballs and a little tail. So try to protect those. And Chewy, I hit your link and I subbed to that person, so I will check out some of that Russian goodness in a little bit.
So you can't really see it, Big J, but that hybrid is right in there under that piece of Mopani. I was hoping you'd be able to see him better. Somebody mentioned, I got to find it again. Mentioned turning the V8 into a powerhead, Tim Toolman Taylor style. Yeah, I could do that. I could, rig my Hemi into a powerhead setup. That would probably be a little too much flow, but I'm not gonna say never. Get this back here.
Yeah,
So-
you just have to put a flow adjuster on it.
Yeah.
A
Make sure you
big
got-
one. A big one.
Hey, y'all got any of that power head conversion fluid in stock? I think I've got all the questions and comments. Zen Ginger says, "Oh yeah, how long do you have to leave them in there, or how long can you leave them there?" Different questions, I guess.
You can leave them in there until they're full grown. Well, you can leave them in there forever, but just do a water changes and put a bubbler in there, and they'll be fine for ever. You
just have to do water changes.
But I've got a bunch of 5 gallons that are empty that I plan on growing guppies out in once I start going to town.
So Rockford Fish Keeping says, at Fish Room Fever, are any of your angelfish guys, how long does it take for angelfish babies to become free swimming? So I have got 2 breeding pairs of angelfish that paired up in this tank behind me. And then I went ahead and pulled them out just because they weren't going to be able to raise any eggs. Sadly, though, we're about between 12 and 20 batches for each of those pairs, and they're still not raising them yet. I tried to raise one batch, and I didn't have the live foods and everything like I should have. But I saw free swimming. I feel like it took longer than I expected it to. I feel like it was like a week before they were free swimming, and I'm used to my bristlenose plecos swimming sooner than that, even though they've still got the egg sacs on them. But I feel like it was a good solid week before they were actually starting to free swim. But I don't have a lot of experience with them because, like I said, the angelfish parents keep eating them, and I am really trying to just let them figure it out so I don't have to pull the eggs every single time.
I would say 37 days.
Yeah.
In my experience.
And it may be just my water temperature is going to, because I'm sure water temperature has an effect on the angelfish. I know it does on other fish in terms of hatch rates and hatch times and growth progression. So it may just be my water temperature is making it take longer. All right. I think that's everything. Dragon Lair says, at Fish Room Fever, did you see Dan's Fish stream about the fulvic acid? Tannins have a lot of fulvic acid in them. I don't know that I saw that stream. I haven't been catching as much fish tube lately as I typically do or would like to. I've been trying to get caught up. I actually ended up having a fairly nasty ear infection just from having an earbud in constantly, which is part of why I went back to this versus last stream I had the earbud in. But from where I listen, all the time with that one earpiece in, that's a wonderful way to let bacteria build up in your ear by blocking off all the oxygen or all the air going in there. So I haven't been listening as much just because I don't want the same thing to happen to the other ear, and I want to let this ear get better before I start throwing an earbud in there all the time.
I seen it, and I deal with folic acid also as far as my kidney disease. But what folic acid does is you take it daily, and it helps convert stuff. And I'm not a scientist, but it helps convert other vitamins and minerals into your body that so they're digestible.
Sorry, I was reading a little bit on the acids.
You know,
Okay. Yep.
Is it Carrie Nature that keeps asking about guppy questions?
Yes, it was.
Another, if she's got 5-gallon tanks, another great way to help make sure that you're getting the exact spawn you want is to pick your best boy and put your girls in the 5-gallon. Actually, have the mothers have the babies in the 5-gallon, and the mothers will be away from the whole crowd of the stress of everybody else bothering them. You can pull that one boy out and do it that way. And then, you know, if you don't want to keep, if the mother's eating the babies, you can pull her out, or you can just kind of let her recoup in there. But that's what I'm planning on doing with mine. I'm going to keep 3 different tanks of each strand of guppies that I have, just because I'm going to keep them all separated.
Absolutely. And that's a good way to do it. Real quick, because we're about to end, just in case anybody else decided they wanted to go live, I did say an hour, and I don't want to run over anybody else. Rockford Fish Keeping says, 3rd batch of eggs from first pair. I have 15 wigglers. They keep moving around. Yeah, I love the little wigglers. Just, you know, keep an eye on them, check them every day, and they'll hit free swimming soon enough. But congratulations on the wigglers, Rockford. Leslie's Aquatic says, hey, Fisherman Fever, don't forget to set your clocks ahead tonight. Yes, unfortunately, I thought of that. Thank you for the reminder for anybody that had forgotten. Yep.
Yes, tonight is the worst night of the year.
Yeah.
1 less hour of sleep.
Another reason I didn't want to do a long stream is because I have some plans for immediately after this, and I don't want to be up until 2, 3 in the morning, lose an hour, and then go in at 6. Adventures with Carl says, Fisherman Fever, did you ever go to the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta? I have not. Maybe I can convince Ed to go. We can go do that after we check out the Chattanooga Aquarium, since I have not been there before. Or the Tennessee Aquarium. But
the Georgia Aquarium is amazing, but I actually like the Tennessee better. I've been in.
Yeah, you need to go to the Tennessee, to Chattanooga.
Yeah, I mean,
it's better.
It gets no credit whatsoever, and I've been to pretty much all of the aquariums this side of the Rocky Mountains. I haven't been on the Pacific side, but I was reading a thing yesterday. They had the top 20, or maybe it was the top 25 aquariums, and the Shed was up there. And I mean, the Shed deserves it. It's so big, but really, I used to go to the Shed about once a year, and it is just like a big, massive chaos. But the Tennessee one, you start at the top and you just spiral down, and it just had such flow, and it's got 2 different buildings. One's freshwater, one's salt. Tennessee's got it going on. It's really nice. Like they had the 5th best was the Boston one, the New England Aquarium, and that was my first aquarium I ever went to, and I love it still today. But it is like super dinky compared to the new big things they're making. But the Georgia Aquarium's amazing. It's got some monster tanks. It doesn't have as many individual tanks, so it's kind of Chattanooga's got not a million, but a lot of individual tanks. You know, they've got I think they have like 500 types of turtle. They have like one of the biggest turtle collections in the world. So, you know, they just got, it's just, I know, I just like that. But
absolutely.
But definitely the Georgia Aquarium, when you see the whale shark in the big tank, it is just amazing. Super cool.
So, I want to say thank you to everybody that came out tonight. Looks like we had about 44, 45 people. We got 48 people on, 34 likes. Thank you all very much for that. Everybody hanging out in the chat. Of course, the moderator team, I appreciate everything you all do, throwing the links up. If anybody is going up next, please let us know. We'll throw a link up in the chat for you so we can send everybody that way. I want to say thank you to all the super chats. And I say that's fairly fitting. We've got Sand Creek, right? Either way, there. Sand Creek Aquatics, $2 super sticker, a $5 super chat, and then another $2 super sticker. Nathan, thank you, buddy. Never required, but I do always appreciate it. Looking forward to being able to take you out when we can get together eventually sometime. Go have a nice meal and just talk and hang out. Zen Ginger with the $2 super sticker. Mike from the Fish Tank Barn with the $2 super sticker. And Kim Moonstone, who I don't think is here anymore. She's going to catch the replay, but came in with a $5 super chat. So thank you all very much for that. I will let you all say anything you'd like to say, do your goodbyes, and I will round us out for the night.
You want to go, Nate, or you want me to go first?
I'll go because I don't want to be the last thing everybody remembers. I'd just like to say hi to everybody that I miss. I'm new to this, but I'm new to the YouTube. I'm not new to fish. And I love all y'all. I love the Fish Fam. James is great. Of course, Ed is great. There's a lot of great people. You can't name them all. And thank y'all. That's where I'm going to leave it.
Absolutely. Ed?
Dragon Lair said it. The New England, over here, said the New England aquarium he loves, and I do too. It's my first aquarium. Like I said, I've been there many times. My aunt lives in Boston, so every time I visit her, I go see it. Wasn't meaning to dog it. It's just, it's been the same size for almost 50 years. So, and they just keep making bigger and better. But it's always a lot of fun to hang out with y'all. It's great to hang out with Nathan and James, and Chris was on earlier, so everybody that I co-host for was on. It was kind of all my bosses. But thank you guys for showing up, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Be on the lookout for some impromptu live streams. So if you don't have the bell run, go ahead and hit it. We won't have a Thursday night nocturnal feeding show because of the Big Fish Deal travel time, but we'll probably have some from the road live streams, as well as maybe some stops off at some fish stores. Zen Ginger, thank you for throwing out that $3 super sticker saying goodbye to everybody. On that note, thank you all once again. Go check these gentlemen's channels out along with the other individuals that were up today and the other creators in the chat. And until next time, keep your fish healthy. And with everything going around, keep yourself healthy. There's a blooper for you. But catch yourself a little fisher.